Oh, hey guys, I just passed to Beaver Creek and Xenia, Ohio, where they're doing a lot of road work to US 35 to bring it up to interstate highway standards. Eventually they want this to be part of an interstate highway that runs from Myrtle Beach to Detroit. When you do these kind of projects, economic development or urban revitalization, a lot of times you have to do impact statements, and the reason for that is historically these kind of projects have hit poor Americans, black Americans very hard. The original intention that President Eisenhower had for the interstate highway system, as one example, would just be for a German-style Autobahn to connect major cities with bypasses around the city. But Robert Moses and other thought leaders of that era, with the support of the auto industry and the petroleum industry, wanted to build through the center of cities instead, so that people who work downtown could build out in the suburbs. It was just a fundamental overhaul of the way Americans lived, and it's led to just dramatically increased use of the automobile, which benefits those corporations, of course. And so that happened, but to save money and to get the work done, they generally went through the neighborhoods that had the least money and the least political influence, which, for example, in New York would be the black and Puerto Rican neighborhoods, where Robert Moses displaced 800,000 people. In Cincinnati, I-75 displaced 35,000 people. All across the United States this went on. And today, black Americans have like 50% of the share of wealth in the United States that they had in 1950, because destroying their neighborhoods harmed them. It disrupted their lives, their social fabric, and a lot of the race riots you saw around 1970-ish resulted from that, and so we passed laws to require impact statements. I was looking on the Clarksburg Urban Renewal site for members. I saw all these documents I'd never seen before. I guess they've been posted recently, which is good. And one of them was the development plan for Clarksburg. This was written in about 2001, and it appears to be the foundational document of our demolition program. It has impact statements in there, and it basically says that in the area of our demolition program, there will be no impact to the surrounding community because we're only demolishing vacant properties. There's a few problems with that. One is that, you're demolishing vacant properties, but it still affects all the properties around it. Where once there was a house, the neighbor now has a vacant lot, and that might help. That's what we've always argued, is that it helps, and it might harm. And we've always just insisted on excluding that fact from the discussion. And furthermore, the reality is we've often coupled demolition with the targeting of landlords to try to address our drug problem, and recently that was shifted to try to address our homelessness problem, vagrancy, public safety. And so we have actually evicted people from their homes. That's not a true statement. And the third thing is that they say, well, it will have no effect on the infrastructure needs of the city. That's not entirely true, because I think of one house in Staley, the former Mayor Bailey lived in. She demoed a house, put a new house in there, and when she did that, she disrupted the spring, and it required a lot of work to Milford Street to fix the freezing and the water drainage problems. So, my point here is that, when we write these kind of statements, we've just kind of glossed over the problems or excluded them from discussion. And focused on these imaginary benefits that may be real, but we don't have any proof of them. And real quickly, I want to touch on, the fact is, now that these impact statements exist, they really just reinforce the control and the discrimination that wealthy people can wield against poor people. They can block bridge projects and subway projects for years and decades because they know how to work the system. They can hire lawyers, or maybe they are the lawyers, and they go in and just have meeting after meeting, and they have hearing after hearing because they know how to do it. But poor people, a lot of times, minorities, they're too busy going about their lives. They don't even know the meeting is happening, or they can't take off work. So I do agree that the URA meeting probably shouldn't happen at 8:30 in the morning. But there's a right and a wrong way about going about it, and unfortunately, a lot of times in Clarksburg, myself included at times, we just get belligerent when a little bit of more calmness and reason maybe would get somewhere. Have a good weekend. I'll holler at you later.